Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Tit Talk, the most titillating podcast you've ever heard. And I am here with my new friend, Ashley Garland, and fellow Texas hottie, right?
Yes, we're not far apart. I'm in
We are
corporate.
not. We are not. I love talking to other Texas creators.
It's so fun.
So, we know a few people. We were supposed to be in the same place at the same time, and life just happened to both of us that weekend. So, we did not get to meet. So we're finally getting a chance to do this now. Now, when you so I'm just going to get into it cuz you broke your foot at a content house, at the content house I was supposed to be at.
Yes. So Jay Playhard was showing me so I literally I had picked up Julie Ginger and Samaj and I took them to the house from the airport. And so like I went in, I was like, I'm gonna check this out before I go to talent testing. I was like, I want to see what I'm working with. So I went inside and went in or whatever, and then I was like, oh, this is nice. It's gonna be there's good space, and stuff like that. And Jay's like, come back, check out the backyard. And I was like, all right. And I went do, and like there was this little itty bitty little step that was off of the balcony, or the back, the sliding door, and there was that step, but you couldn't see it. Like it was that small. So my fat ass, like, took my foot and like I was just, hot stuff coming to the back, and I just tumbled. And Jay, you should have seen his face. He's like, "Oh my god!" And I sat there and I could not get up. I was like, "Oh
this
no,
is a problem."
And I was like, "Jay, I can't get up." I was like, "It's already hard for me to get up because I'm like almost 400 pounds." So I was like, "But that it was my left foot," and I was like, "I cannot step on it. It hurts the worst it's ever hurt." And this is not the first time I've fallen and hurt my foot. So at first I thought it was a sprain, like what happened to me earlier here, because I fell down some steps then too. I don't know what it is with steps in me, but we're not friends. So all in all, like Jay and Samaj had to lift me up on both sides and like basically carry me into the couch. And Julie was like, "Oh my god, let me get ice." Da da da. And they all just surrounded me. They're like, "Give yourself a little bit, put ice on it, and see if you can walk." And I was like, "Okay." So we gave it a few minutes. I was like, "This hurts. This really, really hurts." And it was like starting to do this. I was like, "This is not." I was like, "There ain't no way." So they're like, "Well, do you want us to call 911?" I said, "Let's try to get me up off the couch and see if I can take any steps first."
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Oh no!" Like they picked me up. I was like, "No! This is not a sprain. This is not a sprain. I know what a sprain feels like. It's not." So I call 911. The ambulance comes up.
Oh no!
The guy who owned the Airbnb got called by neighbors, so there's an ambulance at your house.
Yeah.
He's like, he came rushing over. "Oh my god, is everything okay?" I was like, "I think my foot's more than fine." So often.
Oh no, that is the worst. And like listen, I've got bad ankles, and I'll be texting and just boop, roll my ankle like no problem. So I've fractured a foot once, but I've never broken a foot. But I can only imagine that's not fun.
Now it was the top of my foot. So like the middle of the top of my foot is what broke. And then I had a fracture on the top part of closer to my toes. Now I didn't end up getting surgery, so my foot healed, and I've been walking for about 2 months now, pretty good.
Okay.
So I healed up fairly quickly. I was pretty surprised how quickly I came back. So
Good.
I've got I'm scheduling Plumper Pass and Jeff's models for the summertime right now. So pretty much set for that.
Okay. You've shot for Plumper before?
Yeah, both. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what I thought. It's just kind of sort of funny, the like I'll like talk to them and I'll be like, so are you gonna have me come down? Like, what did you decide? And I'll be like, in the meantime, I've interviewed this model of yours and this model of yours and this model of yours and this model of yours. And they're just like, your ass is not big enough, and you know this. And I'm like, I know my ass isn't big enough for you, but
Fuck your ass. I wish they would get over that. Oh.
I just think it's really funny. It's so funny to me, just because I'm like, I am in that weird middle ground of like too fat for some and not fat enough for others, and it just makes me laugh. God. Now, so I wanted to ask you. Oh, go ahead.
No, but wouldn't that be? I would think that would be good, like, because you would be eligible for a lot of stuff. Your tits are obviously your best asset, but it's like
this is maker.
You're all absolutely gorgeous. Like, come on.
Aw, you're so sweet. Well, it's just funny, but like, as you know, like if you're a guy who subscribes to Plumper, you like bigger girls. And like I'm there with my like ass where I'm like, I've got like nothing. And they're just like, yeah, no, your legs are too skinny. And it's just like, this is just so funny because it's like people have, fans look at bodies and they just put you in whatever category they want at the end of the day, to be honest. Whatever they like, that's what you are.
Like, I'm definitely probably not I'm definitely the biggest. I think that Eliza, Laura, and I are very similar in our bodies. Me and her have really big bellies, and like, that's our fetish type. That's what I always focus on with me is my belly, and that's what most of my fans and followers want from me is belly content. And that is something like I thought my belly was going to be too big to film with Plumper Pass and stuff, but they said no, there's a lot of guys who will whack off to you, taking a dildo and putting it in your belly button. I'm like, what?
Okay, I've never heard this before, but this is fascinating.
I get a lot of customs that's what they want.
Interesting. That is okay. I mean, listen, I'm not shaming. I'm just processing because it was like, well, I never thought about that part of it before.
It's weird. It throws me off every time I'm gonna request. Like, they'll pay a big sum of money just to sit there and watch me just take it and do that or slap it and put it on.
I definitely understand when a guy's like, no, I like the belly and like, I don't. Do you do feeding or no?
No, because I'm actually trying to lose weight.
Oh, well, no, but I know like that's a category for some people. But that's why it was kind of like, what are the things I understand the appeal visually of like, that's what people like, but yeah, the sticking something in, I don't quite get, but
yeah,
it's so people like so many different things. It's all you can say. So I wanted to ask you though, because I saw a post on your Instagram recently and you did like this side-by-side picture of you when I guess you said it was a couple of years ago and you feel so much more confident now, basically. So I kind of wanted to ask you about that to be like, where were you kind of in that place in life when you were in that photo from a few years ago, like versus now? And like, how did you, like, were you doing this type of work back then? Or did this type of work help you become more confident? Like, I'm so curious about your story.
You just said it. So the part where you said the industry made me more confident. The whole, like, whenever I noticed that, like, when my first scene came out with Jeff's models and I was really super nervous about it, I was like, nobody's going to like this. Nobody's going to watch this. I'm not going to make it in this. And Jay was like, no, like, listen, this is, you're more of a fetish. Like, you're a fetish. Like, okay, whatever. And so when it came out, I just started getting followers and and I'm like, what? And back then I was waitressing, bartending. I was very active. I was still a hoe, but I was a hoe not getting paid for it.
No, but it's true for many, many people.
Exactly. And so once I realized that I could, get paid with that, I was like, you know what? Like, my boyfriend is actually the one who had contacted a porn star and actually started the whole process for me. He's like, he was the first one to believe in me, which,
Aww.
love you, babe.
But I love that, though. I love those stories.
Yeah, and to have a spouse he's watched me, like, over the past few years, he's watched me gain all the weight. And I know it's not necessarily his favorite thing to see me do, but I don't know. I don't know how, other than I went through, COVID, the depression, and I was driving a lot, not exercising and stuff like that, eating my feelings. You know how that goes. So a bunch of weight. And then, like, I didn't realize how much I was gaining, and I didn't step on the scale. And then, like, he started to notice, he's like, you've been gaining weight. Like, are you okay? And this was after kid. When I really started putting on weight was after I had my kid.
Got it.
Basically, like, the industry has made me more confident than I used to be, even though I used to think I was fat in those days. Like, I thought I was fat, and then I really got fat, and now I'm like, damn, I was skinny.
I know. Isn't it funny how that works?
Man.
If I could go back to, like, my 25-year-old self and be like, hey, no, you're like a size 8 right now. This is skinny. This is so skinny. You have no idea how skinny this is.
Exactly. But yeah, my boyfriend has been very accepting of everything I do. He's definitely 1 in a million.
That's amazing. I need one of those boyfriends. I keep joking. I want, like, an industry husband, like somebody who wants in on all of this, and I'm like just waiting. I'm like, somebody's gonna present themselves at some point. I'm gonna be like, yes, this is great, because it is hard to find relationships and date in this world that we've gotten ourselves into here. So it's amazing that he's been supportive and, like, there for you for every, like, step of it.
Yes, he has. But yeah, he's definitely, he loves your work too, and he's the one who said, hey, I think Erica, I was like, I know her, but does she even want to talk to me? Like, I was like,
I want to talk to everybody. I'm so fascinated by, like, people that have gotten into this type of work, and it's just like everybody comes. I mean, so many of us, I feel like, started because of COVID, and because we were like, well, what's this? And what do we, and I can't, like,
in the middle of
And now that I've done it now for like 3 years, I'm like, I don't ever want to go back to a real job. Like, why would I go? Like, I don't ever want to do that. But I definitely was like, I remember being like, thinking, I would love to do a podcast one day. That'd be cool. And then, the agency that I work with, they're like, well, we can help you start one. And I just needed that push. You know what I mean? I needed somebody else to be like, we'll help you do this. You can do this. You can do this. And now here I am. So I love talking to people, and just, it's such a good way to actually, because, like, okay, like, I was supposed to meet you and life happened, and, like, I wasn't able to make it that weekend either. But now I get to talk to women all over the country to do this. And it's just a really great way to connect.
It is. And I agree with that 100%.
And our fans want to know more about us and our real lives and what it's like. And they love seeing us, chat. And so it just made a lot of sense.
That's so true.
So, okay. So when did you have a baby?
So that picture that I took, that's when I found out I was pregnant.
Oh, wow.
After, I was like, let me take this picture before I get fat. And and then I really did get fat after. But I only gained about, I'd say, 60 pounds when I did get pregnant. But then, like, I just couldn't lose anything after that. And I just put it on. And I was like, okay, I guess my body changed. I don't know.
Oh my God, bodies change, and, like, hormones change. There's a whole bunch of, like, things. And I agree with you. Like, I feel more confident now than I probably ever have in my life, which is awesome. But now I'm also, like, definitely gained some COVID weight. I've always been chubby, but I've never been like, this is the biggest I've ever been. And I'm like, I don't want to be any smaller because I don't want to lose my boobs. They've always been big, but I don't want them to go down.
Yeah.
So
I told Lucas that and a couple other people, I'm like, if I lose this weight, you know, like, am I gonna lose my tits too? Because like, yeah, I kind of want to lose the belly and make my tits bigger, but and have more of a butt, because my butt is shaped like a table, like the
is it flat? Like,
it's like above the top part of the crack is like this. It's like you can put a plate on it, and then like my ass is like, it's like,
like
okay.
I can relate. I feel like I can relate. There are certain angles where I'm like, oh no, that actually looks good. But most of the time I'm like, this is just flat. There's not.
But like when I bend over, like in films and stuff, it's just this big moon like this.
No. You gotta trust the professionals that know the angles.
Now, I don't know if you know this. I'm also really into comedy and making people laugh. So like my TikTok is kind of based on that, other than some of the trends I do with the makeup transformation stuff. But like my biggest thing, like that has gotten me the most, you know, viewers and stuff, has been recreating a movie character called, her name's Rasputia from Norbit.
Okay. Okay.
You know who I'm talking about?
I
Anybody?
know Norbit. I don't know the character, but I remember the movie Norbit. Yeah.
Yeah, she was real big and everything, and like I can relate to like everything that she does in the movie. Like when you get in the tub overflows, and then when you get in the car, your tits and belly hit the wheel, and like beep 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 beep, and you know, don't adjust my seat, you know, like, because when my boyfriend would drive my car, he would always move the seat up, and I was like, and he wouldn't move it back. So like when I get in, I'm like, oh, I can't get in.
Can't get in.
But all the movie scenes, and like when she enters the water park, when I wear a bikini, you cannot see my bikini bottoms when I'm walking towards you. And in the movie is the water park, and you know, it's the whole scene. I recreated that, and it went crazy.
I love it. I think that this shouldn't be serious like what we do. It's like you should be able to like laugh at yourself. And I think that's
Yeah.
part of being creator is like, you know, people see one side of us on the fan sites, but then, you know, so much of it is this other social media side of things.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
love a good boob joke. Are you kidding? I love like the Dolly Parton sense of humor about boobs. I'm like, that's yes, amen.
Yeah.
Praise King Dolly. Like, yes.
I cannot believe that woman had, I mean, I know she's had a lot of, you know, she gets work done and stuff, but man, she doesn't look a day over 50 or 40. Like, I wouldn't, even now, like I saw her, I don't know what video it was, but just recently she went to Dolly World, and I was like, she still looks the same.
Dolly's amazing. I love it. I hope I look that good. It's when I meet, you know, the women that are in their like 50s, and I mean, I even met a woman who was 60 who are doing this, and I'm like, God, I really hope I look that good when I'm that age. Like, I have a lot of respect for that. That is some good genetics and probably drinking a lot of water.
Water and probably staying out. I mean, the sun can do a lot of damage, but the sun's good for you. So it's like, so what do we do? Do we just kind of, I don't know.
Kind of hard to avoid the sun here in Texas. I've realized I am like, even, you know, I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, I've got to cover the face. I got to keep the face like good. But then I'm like, I'm still out there. Like the rest is still out there. Even yesterday, I was out at the pool. It was 90 degrees here in Austin. And I was like, okay, we're making bikini TikToks this morning because it's finally nice enough to do that. Yeah. Now, are you from Texas? Are you like a true Texan, as they say?
I am. I don't know if you're familiar with San Angelo, Texas.
I've heard of it. Yeah. Okay. That's like kind of out west.
It's going towards like Midland, Odessa, but before that, going from Austin to Midland, Odessa, it's kind of like on the way. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and I grew up here with Christy for a while, and then I moved to Dallas, and now I'm back in Corpus.
Okay.
I lived in Austin for like 8 months, but that was a very weird time in my life. I enjoyed it. I loved Austin, but like I was staying with my best friend and her husband, and he ended up like kicking me out and I was like, well, that's kind of, you know, normal because, they had just gotten married and, I'm living there,
Right.
It was bound to happen. So I was like, all right. So I made plans to come to Corpus at that time. But yeah, that was a very odd time in my life.
Well, Austin is an odd place no matter when you come. So
like Austin is getting a lot more award shows, music. Is Austin going to be like the new Los Angeles? Like,
I kind of feel like it's getting there. I know they have the CMT awards like over the weekend, which was, I mean, I kind of forgot about it. And then my friend was like, I signed up to be a seat filler. So she's like, just letting you know you're on standby. If I get the call to go fill seats, like you're my +1. And I was like, this would be fun. It didn't happen, but I was like, oh yeah, I would totally go to the Country Music Awards or the CMT Awards. Like that'd be awesome. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Austin's always been weird, but now it's attracting more celebrities. Definitely a lot of comedy people. There's a lot of comedians here. It's still a weird place, but yeah, it's interesting. And I mean, I never lived in LA. I lived in New York. I lived in San Francisco. I'm one of those people. I lived in New York and San Francisco and came to Austin. I should have just come straight to Austin when I had the itch to move here like 10 years ago. I should have just done that and never went to California. But you learn, and here I am though. I do not deny that I am not a true Texan. I play into everything's bigger in Texas, but I was not born here, so I follow the rules. I'm not a real Texan.
That's fine. We accept you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And so yeah, it's definitely been a crazy place. And there's so many creators here too. Like I have a hard time finding people in Austin, but outside of Austin, there's a ton of people.
Yeah, especially Dallas. I mean, Stella Daniels is my best friend, and
oh really? Stella's so sweet.
We whenever I was living there, we hung out all the time, traveled together everywhere. I miss her so much. She's my bestie. But
she was my very first. Her and Finney were my very first scene.
Yeah, I saw that, and she was telling me about you. She's like, "Yeah, have you filmed with Erica?" I was like, "No." It
doesn't happen. I know she's so sweet. I know I need to get her to do the podcast too, but I keep saying, I'm like, I'll see you in person eventually and I'll end up doing this, but like we just need to do a better job of getting people together in Texas. We don't need to make it a big thing, just having like a little, even if it's like we're just going to get together for like a night. Get stuff done, ladies.
Yes, 100%. Meet somewhere in the middle somewhere, I guess.
Austin?
Austin would be the middle. I know Stella would drive, 3 hours, and it would be 3 hours for me.
Yeah.
Easy. Yeah, that's aw.
I'm gonna like put this in. We're gonna bring this up again because as much as I love doing big collab weekends, sometimes you get more done, especially when it comes to social media content. I feel like whenever I'm at a big collab, it's hard to get people to do social media stuff with me. But when it's smaller and people are more focused, I can be like, yeah, no, let's go make like 10 TikToks right now.
Boom. Get that content for the socials, backed up to where you can just schedule it.
Yeah. Hey, it makes a difference. My whole fan base is from TikTok and Instagram, surprisingly. So
TikTok's I would say, well, TikTok has been my most viral, but with the Rasputia stuff, but that's where I gained most of my followers on there. But at the same time, Twitter seems to be the biggest as far as following.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. I've had a love-hate relationship with Twitter, I'll say. I know you can put whoever you want on there, but a lot of the time I find that it's people that just want freebies.
Yes.
And I'll put some stuff out there. That's fine. But I just don't support that mindset of you're not willing to ever pay for something from a creator you really love. And it doesn't matter how much it is. It's just that showing that intention of I'm willing to spend $5 or $10 to join your page. And, that's all it really comes down to. Because listen, I know what you're doing when you're watching me do yoga live on TikTok. I know what you're doing. So you're already getting the freebie.
That's true.
Come on. We know. We're not dumb.
Oh my gosh, it's wild. I mean, I did have some guy pay. This is the best as far as customs go. I'm sure you do them too. The best custom and the easiest custom, but it involved feeding, which I'm like, I don't want to get myself too far into that when I'm trying to lose weight. But like, I had to. This guy said, okay, here. This was, I think, a year and a half ago. He said, first, I want to pay you $1 for every pound you weigh. And I was like, okay, 378 pounds. He sent me $378. And I was like, okay. And then he's like, do you want to add to that? And I was like, sure, but what do you want? He's like, all right, so in a couple days, I'm going to send you $200. He said, but I want you to film me a custom for 10 minutes of you eating a dozen donuts from Krispy Kreme.
Okay.
And I did it. Another 200. But I'm like, that's, the money's good, but like for that, but I was like, I don't want to.
It's hard. Yeah. Because that's like a day's worth of calories easily in that one thing. So it's like, how do you balance?
I was like, I can't keep doing that, even though
charge double. I'll be like, I'm happy to do this, but you're gonna have to charge double because we're gonna have to do something about this here. That's hard. I mean, I definitely do food customs, and that's not something I like ever promote, I would say, but whenever I get the requests, I'm always happy to accommodate them.
I might again, but it would be not every,
it's never been feeding. Nobody's ever paid to, not that, I mean, I would probably do it. I would be open to it because I like food, but it's always sit on a cake, make love to a cake, make a PB&J BB sandwich. It is that level of food play where I'm like, I guess I'm cool with this. You wouldn't. Messy is real messy. That's all I can say.
Like food where it was the cake thing. It was like a whole cake, like you're talking about. The only thing where I didn't have to eat it was just smashing it all over for a custom. That was it. But I was like, that I'll do, that's fine. Just take a shower.
Yeah. Well, I did one where it was like, and I made a mistake, and I should have, looking back, I should have known this could happen, but like I had my butt was covered in sprinkles and frosting after, and I like hobble into the shower to try to not get sprinkles anywhere, just get in the shower immediately. But I didn't fully clean the bottom of the shower after, and then there were a few sprinkles that remained, and then like the next day I was like, oh my god, my shower is stained from red sprinkles.
Oh,
food dye. And I was like, I am so dumb. Like, I should have realized. And so ever since then, now I'm like, no sprinkle policy, please. Like, if I have to do other things with food, like, it can't be anything that's going to ruin my shower.
Oh, yes. I'm guilty of getting, like, when I was doing my hair blue and stuff, my tub would get blue, and then a boyfriend would get pissed off at me, and I'm like, I'm sorry. He's like, no more of that. Da, da,
da. Exactly. Oh my gosh. It's fun to talk about some of these things with like people that also do it, because other people will be like, you did what? I'll be like, well, this guy told me to go buy a cake and get on my counter and yeah, for $200 I'll do that to a cake. That's fine.
Let's go.
I've worked a lot harder for a lot less money.
100%. That is so true. Like a 12-hour shift at waiting tables would get me about $200. But that, Lord,
I was a terrible waitress. I was a terrible, awful waitress, and I did that one summer. And I was just like, because I grew up in a small beach town, so like every summer you would get a job at like a seafood restaurant that's only open for the summer. And I was just like, oh, I was fine with being a hostess, and I was even like okay as a bartender, but for some reason waitressing, I was awful.
See, me, it was the opposite. There was a restaurant here on the beach where I live at, and I worked there for like 2 or 3 years. They had me go down on like a Saturday summer night. It's right on the water. People come in, when the sun goes down, they're all like hounded in the bar, and you get hundreds of people at once.
Mm-hmm.
And man, let me tell you, you know, the money was great, but oh my God, I have never had so many. I didn't make it. I had to leave. Like, I was like, I can't do this. Like,
So
I was
many people.
too many drinks, and it was just, I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to waitressing because at least I can have my 4 tables and, you know, I could still make my own drinks. But that was,
Right.
I was like,
Hey, I didn't say I was a good bartender, but I was like, I could handle it to a degree. And I would also just tell people, I don't know how to make that, pick something else. I was kind of like snappy about it because I'd be like, really? You want an apple martini? How about a cider? I'm going to give you a cider and you're going to like, like that kind of thing. Or if like a guy was nice enough to explain, this is how you make it, it's really simple, I'd be like, okay, great, you know, because I'm like 21, I have no idea what I'm doing, but
oh,
yeah, hey, you do what you got to do, right?
you do. Yep, 100%.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm excited for us to have our special bonus feature interview too.
Yeah.
So, why don't you tell everybody, like, what is the best place to find you, follow you, see all your content?
I would say Twitter or Instagram. Both are the same. Ashley with 2 Y's, Garland with 2 D's. And then I have an OnlyFans page, which is linked on my Twitter. So you can find it.
Awesome. Well, everyone, make sure you go give Ashley a follow, at least on Instagram or Twitter, and subscribe. And click the link in the bio if you want to see our special bonus feature. We'll be back in a minute.